Coming up on this week's Fever Film Room, it was a difficult two-game road trip for Indiana over the weekend, which saw them drop competitive matchups in Minnesota and Atlanta. Fever center Natalie Achonwa joins the show to discuss Indiana's first road trip of the season. And they shared a connection well before arriving in Indianapolis. Devereaux Peters is with us to discuss the Fever's Irish connection. And those two will break down their upcoming matchup Wednesday night with Seattle. All that and more is coming up right now. Well, after a couple of games over the weekend, the Indiana Fever are back here inside of Bankers Life Fieldhouse. They'll look to even up their record at 3-3. They take on Seattle on Wednesday night. We're up here in Pacers Square, and with us, of course, second-year Fever player Natalie Achonwa, first-year Fever player, WNBA veteran Devereaux Peters. Natalie, we'll start with you here. Let's go back to that Minnesota game because it was probably one of the more wild ones you're going to play all season. You get down by 23 in the first quarter. You're down by 23 at the half. You guys outscored them 44-24 in that second half. It kind of seems like that's been the mantra of the Fever team the last couple of years. You're never out of it when you're down at half, especially when it's been by double digits like that. What changed, though, in that game for you guys? And ultimately, I know you didn't get the win, which you were hoping to, but you got it to one possession there near the end of the game.
Well, it's two sides of that story because the big thing that we need to work on and continuing going forward is our better starts. We're getting behind in the first quarter, and that happened in Atlanta as well. So that's something that we're really honing in on trying to work on. But like you said, it's we fight, and Steph tells us that every time out, every time at halftime, we're not out. We fight no matter what. So that's why we were able to come back and make it a game, is because we never gave up. We continued to fight and really tried to hone in on the little details that we could fix in mid-game.
Dev, so early into your Fever career, you're already back in Minnesota. What was that like?
It was exciting. You know, I got to see a lot of people I played with, a lot of people that work with the organizations that I'm still very close with. So it was fun to play in front of the crowd again. They still have been very supportive, even with me being here. So it was a fun game.
When you look at that Atlanta game on Sunday, it was another close game. You guys fell behind a little bit early, had a real strong third quarter. With about 6 minutes to go, Atlanta closes on an 18-10 run. Was that really the difference, those final 6 minutes where they out-executed you guys?
Yeah, but like Ace said as well, we have to start off the game where we're not digging ourselves out of a hole the whole game. And I think that was the issue. We couldn't, turn that corner. We cut the lead down to, I think, a few times, and we just couldn't turn the corner. We can't get ourselves in that situation where we have to claw and fight for the whole game. So, it's a mixture of us starting off the game, and really we're just trying to figure a lot of stuff out. We're a young team. We're still figuring out the offensive schemes, the defensive schemes, and I think it's going to take us some time to put it all together.
You guys have Seattle. They're coming to this building on Wednesday. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about the connection you guys have, which, of course, is the Notre Dame, the Irish connection. And, Dev, I'm curious. You come here, you hear about this trade during the offseason, and all of a sudden you've got someone who played with you for a year at Notre Dame, someone you're familiar with. How helpful was that coming to a new place, a new city, but knowing there'd be a familiar face there?
It's nice. It makes the transition a lot easier just because you have somebody you can talk to and that knows you and that you get along with. So it made the transition a little bit smoother. I was able to talk to her in the offseason and figure out some stuff out early on. But it's nice. It's nice to be back with Ace. We were always close in college, so it's nice to be back playing together.
Yeah, let's go back to your Notre Dame days. I'm curious because I think it was your freshman year, was her senior year. What do you remember about the leadership that she brought, what it was like to be in that Notre Dame program that at that time when you were there was being led by Devereaux and multiple players?
Well, Dev had about 4 senior years because she was in college for 8 years, so she really got to perfect it. And as you can see, as a relationship to this day, she's been someone that I can always lean on no matter what, whether it was my freshman year in college or even to this day, that the connections you make at Notre Dame are a lifetime. And I've been lucky that I got to learn from Dev and now play along her once again.
Yeah, Dev's established yourself in this league. You had a great rookie season moving that into second year. I'm curious, though, did the roles feel flipped at all? Because she comes in, she has, I know, more experience in this league, but all of a sudden you're the one with the more experience with this team, with this city, and what it was like. Was it almost like you were kind of showing her the ropes a little bit?
Well, with Dev and I, it's always a conversation. We see things differently, and we're always open to either my opinion, and she's open vice versa. So I think I was just trying to give her any feedback, any little pointers that I knew, whether it's from what Steph was looking for in offense or whether it was just where to go to eat in Indy. So we just have an open conversation and really just value each other's opinions.
12 players on this team, nearly half either come from Notre Dame or Maryland. Is there any kind of rivalry there with the other three, Kaiser, Mosley with Maryland?
Well, they tried to make it a rivalry when we had the little fan day or whatever.
The season ticket holder day.
Yeah, the season ticket holder day, and we had our little competition. But I just want to make it very clear, we've never lost to Maryland in anything. Not in that competition either. So
I know when you're superior, you don't really have to compete.
So it sounds like what you're saying, it's not a rivalry.
No. If you're winning all the time, it's not really a rivalry.
Yeah, you got to go back and forth for it to be a rivalry.
Shots fired here on the Fever Film Room. I like it. Let's take a look at our Twitter question of the week. You can tweet us at Indiana Fever. And if we will potentially use your question here on the show, and our one this week comes from Owen Perkins, and it's got that Notre Dame connection, asking, what is it like to have your Notre Dame fans come to games like opening night? And that's one of the positives about going to a school just a couple hours away. It's easy for them to come down here and continue watching you guys play.
I mean, the support you get in college for women's basketball is amazing, and especially coming from a school like Notre Dame where we're used to selling out every night when we're at home. And to be able to carry those fans on to the professional level means the most to us. I know we did a little meet and greet with including Skylar after our home opener, and every time we play here, they continue to support us, and it means the world to us. So it's always go Irish. So I mean, it doesn't matter what jersey we have on.
I mean,
nice to see some familiar faces, though.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome that they take the time to make the drive down and support us. Even now, it's just great. I mean, we love to see them out there. We love to hear them talking about Notre Dame. So, that's in our blood. It's always going to be.
You've now got 5 games in the books. When you look at this first 5 games or so, this early part of the season, are there areas that you can now identify? You now have enough games under your guys' belt. This is where we want to get better. I know offensively, especially at home, you guys were really strong. A lot of offensive efficiency. You saw that in spurts on the road. Are there areas that you can now identify now that you have 5 games under your belt, areas that you'd like to improve on as a team?
Well, there's plenty. And one of the talks that we were speaking about today was paying attention to the details and continuing to focus on the details, especially with the numbers being a little bit low right now with our team. We really need to focus on the little things and take care of the little things. We can't be looking at the entire game in a whole game segment. We got to look at it in little pieces and little quarters.
Dev, is there any transition for you still going on? Do you feel like you're fully adjusted to this Fever team, this Fever system, even the city? I know there's a lot that goes with that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm in it now. I've been here for almost a month now, I feel like. So I feel like I'm pretty much in it.
I think more.
Is it longer than that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like it's close to, it's all one big blur. But I mean, I feel like I'm into the system. Like I said, we have a lot of new people. So, I'm not going at it alone. So I think that really helped, and that a lot of people are learning and, transitioning as well. So it makes it a little bit easier because then everybody's doing it at once and figuring it out at the same time.
All right, Seattle comes into this building on Wednesday. They're a team that's been drafting high. They've got a couple good young players on that team, and the show's had a Notre Dame connection. So Jewel Lloyd, you guys know what she can do. Your thoughts on her, your thoughts on Seattle coming here on Wednesday?
I mean, Jewel's a good friend of mine, and so it's great to see how successful she's been in her team this year. But, of course, we're adding Brianna Stewart as well. They've got a couple new threats that we're looking to take care of, but we're also really focusing on us. That was a part of that we got away from a little bit on the road, was just so focused on what the other team was doing. We got to remember that we need to focus on what we need to do on defense, on offense, and focus on those little details.
Is it difficult when a team is as young as they are to know what to expect? We, of course, know the talents that some of these players are and might be in a couple years especially, but right now, is it tough at all to know what you might be getting in Seattle on Wednesday?
I mean, no. They're a scrappy team. They're a fighting team like us. They don't quit on anything. They have a lot of players that are just, dogs like on the court, just really fight. And Jewel and Alicia Clark, they have people that are going to, bring their game every night. So, like Ace said, we just have to focus on ourselves. And when we play our game and do what we can do, it's not a lot of teams that can play with us.
I know your attention is on Seattle on Wednesday. If you wouldn't mind quickly touching on New York, that's a place that you guys, when you last were there, it was a pretty special moment.
Yeah, it was. And now with Shavante there as well on the other side, it's great to see familiar faces now. And being my second second year in the league, also kind of knowing the teams a little bit more and knowing personnel that helps me in our short turnarounds in between games, like you said, Seattle Wednesday, and then we're going to New York. It's nice to know who you're playing, and the Garden's always fun to play, and the atmosphere and the competitive rivalry that we have with New York will continue on this year.
All right, you guys have talked about it a little bit, but I want one big key from you guys, specifically what needs to happen for you guys to get that win here on Wednesday. Start with you, Natalie.
Me? Like you mentioned at the home games, we're the best when we're all contributing. We're not going to have one person that scores 40 a night. We're going to all contribute. So I think just keeping that even contribution.
One key from you?
I think just playing with flow. I think when we play with flow on offense and defense, knowing our spots, knowing what we contribute and doing that really well, we're a great team. So just getting back to that, we kind of got away from that on the road and bringing that back in front of our home crowd so we can get a win.
All right, well, if you're watching this here on feverbasketball.com and you're watching before the game on Wednesday, come on down. Notre Dame fans, come on down. It should be an exciting one. Seattle, one of the exciting young teams in the league. Brianna Stewart, the first-round pick, of course, will be here in Bankers Life Fieldhouse on Wednesday night. Feverbasketball.com. If you're watching on the website, click the tickets tab above us, and you can be here inside of Bankers Life Fieldhouse. I know these two are ready to get playing back here at home. Ladies, thanks so much for your time here on the Fever Film Room.
Thank you.
All right, that'll wrap it up. We'll talk to you next week. This is the Fever Film Room.